Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the show. I got my regular crew with me, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we are coming your way with the 22nd edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. We have a lot of basketball to cover today, so we're just about to get right into it. What are you guys' thoughts on Cleveland versus the North?
Well, I personally think the series went to plan for the first two games, and then the script was thrown out the window, and Toronto decided to show up a little bit. I don't think anybody's surprised that they took at least one at home. I think the surprise comes when they took both games and looked pretty good doing it. Lowry and DeRozan both have stepped up on home court, at least. They need to be able to do it on the road if they want any chance of moving on. Well, mainly one, because Cleveland is home court, but two, because DeRozan's also in a contract year where it looks like he could potentially go to the Lakers. We talked about that last week, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if the Lakers will want to offer him big time money if he's not going to be able to perform on the road in big games. When it comes down to it, it's a 2-2 series. It's entertaining. This is what people want. They don't want blowouts consistently. So maybe this means the games will get a little bit closer. Basically what's on the line tonight is the fact that when a series is tied 2-2, the team that wins game 5 wins the series 82% of the time. So that's what's on the line tonight. So, I'm not saying the series will be over for whoever wins it tonight, but they have, the upper hand for sure.
Yeah, numbers speak. What about you, Darnell?
I agree. Personally, I'm just happy that Cleveland's not walking into the finals with a built-in advantage of really just having like
crazy
12 scrimmages before getting to the finals, while the West has been beating each other up. So, that gives me some happiness to look forward to the finals. Not seeing like a team that's super battle tested having to go against a team that's fully rested and might just be out of gas. So I'm glad to see Toronto finally stepped up. Both of their stars they started being stars. Putting up 60 plus points together for 2 straight games. That's what you need out of those guys. And now they're making Cleveland work. And actually, I think it's exposing Tyronn Lue as not really being a good coach, for one. But I think it's given those Western Conference teams some holes to look at again, and it's not looking like Cleveland's a juggernaut they were looking like after the Detroit series.
Now, are you guys just surprised at this at all? Because I was looking TV, there are people mentioning on Twitter, like they were just like, I did not give Toronto a shot at all. Some people just had them just getting swept. Are you just surprised that it's 2-2 or Toronto's been playing like they've been playing?
Oh yeah, I'm shocked it's 2-2.
Yeah, I think I'm shocked it's 2-2 after the way games 1 and 2 went. I don't know how Toronto went into Cleveland for games 1 and 2 and lost by an average of about 20 something points, and then when rattled off 2 in a row at home. I just didn't see that. I thought it was going to be a sweep after games 1 and 2 for sure. I thought it would be a 5-game series, 6 if it was lucky, but if Toronto can do something, they might be able to pull off 7.
Yeah. I thought Toronto might be able to get one game if they got DeRozan and Lowry to actually do something together.
Yeah.
But they went beyond that, and then all of a sudden Bismack Biyombo is like defensive player of the year now.
Yeah, he's got the finger waggle going.
Yeah, he's bringing out his inner Mutombo.
Yeah.
And grabbing 20 boards in games and stuff like that. They got a fire under themselves. I don't know if Drake gave them a special edition of Views from the Six or something, but
deluxe edition or something.
Yeah, but they're showing off now, and they've made the series entertaining and fun.
Yeah, and just real quick, you brought up Bismack Biyombo, to the Andre Drummonds, the Paul Millsaps, the Al Horfords, take note of that guy, because this was a guy coming off the bench and just bringing so much energy to Toronto, the fans, the people at home watching. He's basically, to me, he's been like the MVP of the team this series. Just because I don't think if he hasn't been playing the way that he's been playing, doing the dirty work, getting the rebounds, I don't think Toronto would have really been playing as good as they have, with him just bringing the energy and stuff like that. So that was kind of, when they played the Pistons, and I thought Andre Drummond, this would have been a good chance for him to take it to the bigs for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I thought with Horford and Paul Millsap, as much as talent as they have, I thought they would have been a great opportunity for them to crash the boards and stick it to, Kevin Love on offense and everything. Bismack, he's not an offensive player, but with those skill sets too, if they could have brought it defensively, brought it to the defensive side of the table, and then, took it to him on offense with Kevin Love's weak defense, that could have helped them a lot, in the series, extended it, could have had Cleveland not get as much rest as they could, but just Bismack just stepping on the court, that guy played a huge role in Toronto having the success that they are having right now against Cleveland. So that guy's just been absolutely exceptional on the court.
Well, and I think you also have to give him some credit too, because he had to step in for Valanciunas, who was hurt. So it's not like the coach is saying, "All right, I guess we're going to give you the shot." It's we need you. Yeah. And he stepped in and definitely gave himself value to the team where he didn't really have a ton of it coming in.
Yeah. Now, with Bismack, should they have started Valanciunas tonight or whatever?
I don't think you just don't mess with a good thing that's going, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
To use that baseball, you ride the hot hand.
Exactly.
He's been bringing energy. They're playing together very well. You ride this until it starts. You see some cracks start showing. Then maybe you work him back into the rotation. But Biyombo is he's being that heart of the team right now.
Exactly.
You let it keep. You roll with it. Especially you're playing the number one team in the East. You give them your best punch.
Exactly. I agree. You agree, Ty?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
So it's just the fact that I think you're getting surprising production from a surprising player, and I don't know why you would want to. I don't know. I see both sides, because I understand you don't want to fix what's not broken, and you don't want to play him, but, I'm going to throw it back a few years, and you had, when Michigan made it to the finals in the NCAA tournament, and Spike Albrecht went off for 17 points in the first half, and they continued to let him play in the second half and tried to run the offense through him, and it's like, yeah, it's working, but it's not what got them there. And
they rode that too long.
Yeah.
In the first half.
No, I agree. I agree.
Start missing triples. They should.
I agree. And I understand that the offense is probably a little more fluid with Valanciunas in the game and all that. But I do think sticking with Bismack was the smart move right now.
Just with all that energy that that guy brings to the table, just able to do all the dirty work. And, he's got the momentum in his court right now. So I don't see the purpose of messing that up. For a guy that's going to be rusty with the injury that Valanciunas has. So I don't think that's a good move if they start him.
I agree. And with the first half, at a close right now, and Toronto not necessarily playing that great, when you're on the road, you have to set the tone defensively.
Yeah.
And I think Biyombo gives you the better opportunity to do that, and it just didn't work out. I mean, Cleveland's at home. I expected them to come in and win this game and probably win it big.
Yeah.
But I do think Biyombo was the right play.
Yeah. Anything else to add, guys?
No, I think we got it.
All right. Now, I was pretty heated about this, as I told you guys a little bit earlier, but what were your thoughts on that LeBron flop?
He needs to sign a deal with the WWE immediately. That's beautiful, taking a punch there and selling it.
Yeah.
I thought the NBA was finding for flops.
Yeah.
I mean, this one wasn't even close. There's some I can understand. This wasn't close.
Exactly. And, like I was telling you guys, if we were recording this right as I saw it, this show would have been filled with just so much cussing. It would have been ridiculous. But, my whole thing is this guy's flopping. And basically, that's just a delay of game, because after they saw that, they had to go to the replay, look it over and everything. Like, that's wasting our time. That's wasting the fans' time. Players are, they're losing their momentum on the court. The shot could be getting cold or anything, just sitting there, just watching a guy just be an absolute idiot. People, he claims, he probably still believes he's the best player in the NBA. More power to him. I don't care about that. But, people will say this guy's a top 10 player of all time. Jordan wouldn't do stupid stuff like that. Magic wouldn't do stupid stuff like that. Kareem wouldn't do stupid stuff like that. Larry Bird, plenty of people that just would not flop and just look like an absolute moron on TV like that. Like, that was just ridiculous, man. Like, I just don't get, how are you just,
you really feel?
Yeah, like, how are you just like six, right? Like, how are you just 6'8"? Like, it was, like 6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah.
Like 260, 270, 300 pounds, I don't care. And you're just flopping like that, looking like an absolute idiot, man. It's like, you don't need to do that.
I mean, like, the only thing is, like, the game was getting a little physical. Maybe he just wanted to show the ref something, but there's no point. Yes, Jamari Carroll's arm got close to his face, but the fact that he basically tripped backwards some 20 feet and then slid on the floor was just beyond.
You know what that looked like? Like Darnell up in the movie Friday, like when Debo had that crazy punch. Oh, that looked like something like, but with no power at all. Like, it looked like Debo just clubbed him.
Yeah.
Like, man, it was just like, wow. I was looking at my TV, man. I was just heated. Like, dude, you're one of the top players in the league. You don't need to be flopping like that, looking like an idiot in front of millions of people on TV.
In reality, I don't care whether you're a top player or not. You don't need to be flopping.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, people getting, like I said, he should have definitely got fined for that. Just, with that delay of game and everything going on, just watching them replay after replay, they're showing that replay. It's like, dude, it's obvious he flopped. Like, there's no need to just watch this 20 times.
Yeah.
Dude flopped.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
simple.
Basically, like Trey said, his size for what happened, like, he did get hit by his own teammate, trying to throw his arm back to get him off of him. But, to take 12 steps backwards and slide another 20 feet, basically, it was like, come on, dude. It's like, you're not, like, somebody could hit you square in the jaw and you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But somebody flinging his arm back made you fly that far. Basically, they should have reviewed it. The T that they had at first called on Jamari Carroll should have been assessed to LeBron, and he should have been fined afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if Jose Bautista can take a punch square to the jaw
and
stay standing, LeBron could have handled this one.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that, man. That was just, I was pretty heated, Like,
no.
How I sound now, picture this like a million times worse if we was recording. That was just awful, man.
Kind of wish I was there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anything left to say on the Cleveland-Toronto series? Do you guys think it's going to go 7 or what?
I still don't think 7.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Cleveland will probably get a game in Toronto. So, probably 6.
Well, if they win tonight, all they need is the next one in Toronto. So. Yeah,
I'm going to say
that's what I see.
Yeah, I'm going to say 7. It's just like, Toronto's just getting blown out right now, but it's just like ridiculous how they've just been playing. Both teams just been playing at home. Game 4, Toronto did have a nice lead, but Cleveland did manage to come back and make it, interesting about the end of the game. But I just think Toronto, if they lose tonight, which it looks like they will, they're going to have their backs against the wall. They're going to come out firing. So I think it's going to go Game 7.
Yeah, and real quick, we talked about Biyombo, a quote unquote role player for Toronto, really stepping up for them. How about Channing Frye? He's been shooting the ball real well for Cleveland, especially the 3-ball. He actually was one of the key players getting him back into Game 4.
Yeah,
that was a key move for Cleveland getting him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this has been, as much as it's been about, Lowry and DeRozan pairing up for 60 plus, LeBron's and their big three teaming up for a bunch of points and whatnot. I think the role players have played just as big of a part in the series as the stars have.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what are you guys' thoughts on this OKC Golden State series? Are you guys shocked?
Who isn't?
I was going to say, once again, yes. Totally shocked.
Who isn't? But
I'll go first real quick. These are kind of my thoughts. I'm a little shocked that they're up 3-1. But as you guys recall, I did have the Spurs winning out in the West. So when they beat the Spurs, to me, the Spurs were the man. And, and as they say, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So to me, when they beat the Spurs, it was kind of like, okay, this team's serious. But I was shocked by just how, Steph and them guys are playing. I thought they would make the game a little bit closer. But now don't get me wrong, I'm not about to say, I saw what Steph Curry and those guys can do. So I would not be shocked if they could find a way to turn it around and win this series, because those dudes can ball. When they get hot and start shooting, it can be a wrap for anybody. So I'm not going to say the series is over or anything like that, but they kind of put me on the map, had me put them on the map when they beat the Spurs. It was kind of like, okay, this was a team that I had winning it all, and they took out Popovich and his squad. So to me, it's just like, okay, these guys can actually do something. So they got serious to me. So, still a little shocked by it, but probably not as much as you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm shocked by it. I mean, I expected it to be a good series. I didn't expect Oklahoma City to be up by 2 games at any point. Maybe, like, I wasn't shocked when they stole Game 1. I think they're good enough to, sneak the game out even in Oakland. But, I mean, the way they're playing and just basically how they seem to be owning the series outside of Game 2, just, wow, I think they're exposing the one, their side where they have a mismatch, which is Russ on offense versus Steph on D. It's just that can't happen. Basically, they have to find some other way to cover him, because I think they're using that to do some exposing, and I think they're just they're kind of having their way all around with Golden State. Golden State, who is usually known for being a really good defensive team, is just not seeming that way.
Yeah.
So it's just and Oklahoma City seems to have fixed their fatal flaw, which was killing them during the regular season, which was playing 4 quarters. Like they seem to be turning it on more in the 4th quarter instead of letting games slip away.
Yeah, that's a key part to me, man, because I would look at the game, I would just say, okay, Golden State's down in the 4th, but throughout this year, the Thunder are horrible at keeping a lead in the 4th. So I'm like, okay, there's a possibility Golden State could come back and win this. There's a good possibility. And they just found a way to just close the deal, man. And they're up 2 games right now. So,
yeah, for me, I fall in the same boat as you guys. Surprised that it's 3-1 Oklahoma City. Surprised Oklahoma City has, 3 opportunities to win the series. But I think when we watch the games, it's not exactly as big of a shock as we think it is. I mean, Oklahoma City's pretty much playing 120% and hustling, winning the 50-50 balls, playing real aggressive defense, shutting down Steph Curry, shutting down Draymond Green. And in my opinion, they're playing like they want to get to the finals more than Golden State does. I mean, I'm not saying Golden State doesn't want to get there because they have a lot riding on the line for themselves. Yeah. But I think Oklahoma City just looks hungrier. They look more determined. They're almost playing like they want to be the team to take down Goliath, basically. And they're doing a great job of it so far. We've had the discussion before, whose team is it, Durant or Westbrook? Both are playing great right now, but, I feel like Westbrook has had a couple more of the defining moments, like you said, Trey, when they were playing San Antonio and they beat them. I just keep going back to the play where Kawhi Leonard, had the no call foul on Westbrook, and he goes up and gets an and one bucket late in the game to seal it. Yeah. Just it's the little, granted that was a big moment, but little things like that, like fighting through the foul and going up for the bucket. It's things like that that's separating Oklahoma City from Golden State right now.
Yeah. Also, Public Enemy, they had a song back in the day, man. Basically, it's a key thing right now with all this media and attention that Golden State has got. They had a song called "Don't Believe the Hype." The media, many people hype these guys up. How would they do against the Bulls? How would they do, against this team? Is this the greatest team ever? Yeah, they got the 73-9 record, but guess what? If they lose one more game against Oklahoma City, that record is not going to mean anything at all, because at the end of the day, they did not get that championship like all those players, all the people on the coaching staff, all the fans and them wanted. So all this hype with the Bulls and everything like that we have fun talking about, how would they do against them? Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, all those guys would be laughing. Like, guess what? We had one of the best records and we can end up pulling off and winning the championship. Those guys fell short. Didn't even make it to the championship finals. So that would be crazy, man, if they could, like I said, I'm not going to say that they're going to lose the series because, like I said, I've watched Curry plenty of times this year. I saw what Draymond Green could do. So, these guys can rally around and get the win, but that would suck, man, if, with all this hype, all the talk about how they would do against the Bulls and everything like that, if they just fell up short and just lost like that. So that would be crazy.
Yeah, basically, if they don't win this series, it's actually kind of like pretty much worse than the 16-0 Patriots. Yeah. At least they lost in the Super Bowl. This will be, you didn't even make it to the Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah.
You dropped.
You still there, Darnell?
And I guess, yeah. And I guess, this is a question for both of you guys. So I guess this is a question for both of you guys. Like, if Golden State loses this series, undisputed best regular season ever, that cannot be argued. Do you think that would only intensify the discussion between which team was better?
Out of
them and the Bulls?
Yeah, them and the Bulls. Because yes, the Bulls won the championship, but
no, I think this slams the door on the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Because,
and I would agree too.
The Bulls got what everybody else in the league wants right now, and that's the championship. And they fell short of it, Yeah, they got the better record in the regular season than the Bulls, but guess what? The Bulls got what mattered most to anybody. That's what they don't. Players, a lot of players, they don't care about getting the best record, but they do care about winning that championship, though. So.
Yeah, and I agree. It's just I was reading some message boards, and I just saw one Golden State fan. He was like, well, at least we have the best regular season ever. It's like, but who cares now? It doesn't matter. So. But, I just feel like it's going to be one of those things where all the all the Golden State fans are just going to be sitting around, one, talking about what could have been, but two, just kind of, taking, rest in the fact that they had the best regular season ever, and that was incredible. And it's like, yeah, it was, but while the rest of the NBA says, but they're sitting there saying, regular season. You know how that goes.
I don't know. I think just even like their most tried and true fan this is going to be the season you want to forget now if they don't get the title.
Yeah,
like, all of that going and just.
If I were a fan, I'd want it to be.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, well, think about it. The off season, if granted, the only way Golden State won't be talked about that much this off season is if Cleveland wins it all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that would be almost, do you think that would be a bigger story than Golden State losing it? Because of the drought in Cleveland?
Possible. No, I don't. I think
okay.
I think it would be second biggest story either way, just because I mean, it'll be a big story for Oklahoma City because they get over a hump. Now, does this mean they get to keep Durant because they got the ring? If Cleveland wins, of course, like the drought for the major sports for Cleveland is over. They and their savior LeBron James brought the title. So I think either way there's a little more.
Did I say Oklahoma City? Because I meant Golden State. Like GoldenTate losing it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Okay, I think either team winning the title is a bigger story than Golden State lose. I think there'll be that if Oklahoma City wins, that Golden State loss will be a caveat to it. Like they'll give all those props to the Thunder because they got over that hump. They showed that Westbrook and Durant can get the job done together. Now that might squash some of the talks about Durant leaving this year and Westbrook leaving next year, that kind of stuff. Now all is well about them dropping Harden. It was the right move. But what about this Golden State team? Like what's next for them? You win 73 games and then you lose in the conference finals. What do you do? So it'll be that sub story for either. But I think either championship just because of the two teams. Like if it was the Spurs that beat them and won, I definitely think Golden State would overshadow them.
Yeah, you just think there's more stories surrounding the two other teams that look like they could win it. Okay. Yeah. And I agree with that. I think the drought in Cleveland's a huge story. I mean, the Believe Lin just came out 30 for 30. So, I think that's huge in itself. Any team to end the drought, the hometown kid basically doing it. But yeah, I do think as much as we would love to continue to talk about, whoever wins the championship, it'll still, like you said, it'll still have to be a big focal point of conversation. Just because it was history that didn't really end up being great history.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you guys this. I kind of gave my take on it. I think there's still a good chance that Golden State can come back. But how do you guys feel? You think the series is over or what?
I mean, down 3-1, there's that the percentages are mighty low.
Yep.
I just think Golden State hasn't shown me enough. As much as I want to say no, the series isn't over, I'd still love to see this series go 7.
Yeah.
I think it can go 7. I just think, another opportunity at home for Oklahoma City. They're playing with great intensity. I think it's hard for me to sit here and say, oh, Golden State's still going to win
it. Yeah. Do you agree, Darnell?
Yeah, by all means, surprise me, especially since, of any team in there that I would have a rooting interest in is Golden State for, school purposes. But I'm not seeing it. Just their heart, so they're both of their leaders. Neither is showing up right now. they're both basically getting darts thrown at them right now, and I mean they have to show something and come back for it for me to believe they have any kind of shot. Like I need a huge game from both of them tonight to give me any type of reason to believe they have a shot at coming back.
Yeah. Now you Draymond, Michigan State guy, easy to tell. What do you think is his key problem right now on the court that he isn't producing like he's producing? You think it's confidence? You just think he's just young and this is he needs more experience coming this way, or what do you think it is with him?
I don't think it's any of that really. I mean, I just think just sometimes players have just bad series. I mean, it happens. It's just a Golden State has two players having a bad series, so that makes it
two top players too.
That makes it a lot to overcome. But I mean, I don't think Draymond ever lacks in confidence. He's just mentally, he's not that type of player that it's gonna. He has that mentality where, I mean, I might miss 99 shots, but I bet you I'm gonna make 100. This 100th one. Yeah. He's that type of guy, and he came from that Izzo mentality where, I mean, if it's not rolling at one end, you still play your heart out on the other side. Yeah. So no, I don't think that's it. I just think they're out of whack, out of rhythm, and they just can't get it together with their best two players.
Okay.
Yeah, I think something that has to go along that line is the fact that, having Kevin Durant check him on, the offensive end of the floor, having a guy with a wingspan that's just absolutely ridiculous, really kind of preventing some shots, both close to the rim and from 3-point range. I mean, Durant could be 4 or 5 feet away from you and make that ground up real quick with a wingspan that's well over 7'5". Yeah. So I think his wingspan's about 7'6", 7'7", something like that. But so I mean, he closes ground.
That you're shooting over a basket to get to the basket.
Yeah, it's that Dirk effect with that fadeaway. When you're 7 feet and you're fading away, shooting up, it's like it takes a lot to get to that. And Durant, the same hand, can close ground real quick because of his length. And I think some of that's throwing him off a little bit. Tran, mentioned the idea is he lacking confidence, and I agree with you, Darnell. I don't think he's lacking confidence, but one thing I do think he is, I don't want to call it he's lacking confidence because, like you said, he's always that I'll get the next one kind of guy, but I do think he's frustrated, really frustrated with his game, not seeing shots go in, continuing to shoot and continuing to see them not go in is very taxing on a player's ability to continue getting them in the basket. I mean, like you said, a bad series, he's just in a slump. He went through a slump a little earlier in the season, came out of it just fine. It's just the fact that if you're in a slump right now, you may not get a chance to bounce back.
Yeah, it's the worst time to go through one.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you guys just brought this up tonight, actually. This is pretty interesting. But, Steph's been cold and everything, especially last game. Does he offer anything other than the shots?
I mean, it was kind of shocking when I first heard this, just to, give props to who brought up the argument. This was on Colin Cowherd's show. I believe it was today. But he just kind of led into Steph Curry. I mean, he's known for giving some contrarian views. I think that's his shtick. But I found the conversation interesting, especially with the examples that were brought up, because he was like, LeBron James, if his shot's not falling, he assists, gets rebounds, plays great defense. Kawhi Leonard, all defensive player, if his shot's not falling, also great rebounder. Just kind of going through with those other big names, and it's kind of like, if Steph's not shooting well, really what else is he kind of elite at? I mean, he's a really good ball handler, but that's really not going to get you baskets on the court. He's not the best passer on the court. I think that's Draymond. He's not the best rebounder on the court because he's too small to do it. And he's not, I mean, I've said it earlier on this show. I don't even think he's like an above average defender. It's just he's so lethal offensively usually with his shot that it's okay. You have to have him on the court because he's going to outproduce whoever he has to guard. So I mean, I think it was an interesting point, and like it doesn't. I mean, it can kill you in a series, of course, like right now, especially if the number 2 player is off. Because I mean, I think Golden State has 3 major scoring options with Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Yeah.
2 out of the 3.
That's just
you're done.
Yeah.
But if you can get 2 of them that are rolling, I think you can get by with Steph not shooting that great. But if somebody else isn't rolling on top of him not shooting well, and he doesn't really have any other ways where he's gonna help you, he's not gonna lock down the guy he's covering. He's not gonna go off usually for like 12 or 14 assists or something like that, and he's not gonna just rise up over people to get boards. Just he's too small for that. So it's the greatest. I hate saying this about him because I do think he's an elite player. He deserved the MVP this year and all that kind of stuff, but he might be a one-trick pony, but it's the greatest one trick anybody has seen, because his one trick is worth 3 points when everybody else's is worth 2.
Yeah, I can feel the same way with you, Darnell. I think he can add some stuff to the game, but I don't think it is as elite as a LeBron or Kawhi Leonard or anything like that. One thing just about the guy that he's playing against, Westbrook. He's known to have horrible shots, but this dude gonna get some assists and he's gonna go crazy on those boards. He can't go as crazy on the boards and assists as a Westbrook can if he has a cold night.
Nor can he get to the rack and draw fouls.
Explosive, like Westbrook's one of the most explosive players to ever play the game.
It's finesse versus the physicality at that point.
And 2, with just Steph's shots, that guy brings just so much energy to that team and crowd, and he's just making those crazy, ridiculous shots. His teammates can feed off him and everything like that. But when those aren't going, I don't think the players are as hyped up as they can be or anything like that once he plays, once he starts missing those shots and things too. So I think it's a hype issue, and I think it's also just an issue that, he's not, I think he can deliver with some assists and rebounds, but not nowhere near as good as a Westbrook can or anything like that, or LeBron.
He can't do it to a level to cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he can't, if he's, 3 for 15, he can't just crash those boards and just hook you up with the rock like Westbrook can or anything like that. So that's something on this game, that I would love to see him hopefully work on during the off season that can bring it next year. But a great player, but like I said before, he's definitely the MVP. But I feel as if there are better players than him in the league that are just all around. I would take a Kawhi. I think Kawhi is a all-around better player. I think Westbrook is an all-around better player. LeBron, I still think he's an all-around better player than Curry. But when that guy gets hot and he can just pop those threes, who can stop that? I'll take 3 over 2 any day. So that's just the thing with him. He's a great player, but he can't produce, get those boards and assists like other guys can, and defensively, play defense like those other guys can too. So he just something that he's a young guy. He's just something that he's going to have to just work on during the off season so he can have it in his arsenal next year. So, what about you, Ty?
Yeah, I think you guys brought up really, really good points. I think when talking about the ability for him to pass, he averaged 5.5 assists this season. And I would be very curious to know how many of his assists this year came off of a 3-point make. So like him passing it to Klay Thompson for 3, him passing it to Draymond Green for 3. Because, I mean, if you're passing it around the perimeter and you're getting 5 assists a game, it's like, that doesn't really make you a great passer at all.
Yeah. Like, it's one thing to, like,
dish it out.
set up a play and get an assist off it, but, if you're getting double teamed, then you just find a guy or whatever, or you just got a beast in Clay that's, one of the greatest shooters of all time, too. We overlook him with Steph, but, dude can knock down the shot anytime, too. When you have him, he can just throw it up in the air and it can go in, too, and it just get some assists,
And I think it really makes sense that, he's not even really offering up assists in this series when, one of his 2 other options is struggling really bad, Draymond Green. So really he's relying on Klay Thompson really to give him anything on the stat sheet right now. And, his size, inability to rebound, all that stuff. So, I mean, the only thing he's really good for right now is being on the floor as a decoy because you have to worry about him. Whether he's making shots or not, you're assuming he's making everything he's taking. So the only thing he's really doing right now is just standing on the floor and, taking up space, taking up a defender and sometimes 2 defenders and just trying to get other people really involved because he knows he's not. But the only thing is he's going to continue to shoot, and I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, dude can get hot instantly.
Yeah, I mean, because and if they're going to get back in the series, it's going to start with him most likely making some threes. Mm-hmm. Because I think if he starts making some shots, I think, we've had this discussion too, who's really the leader on the floor for them. And as we all agree, it's probably Draymond Green, especially vocally, intensity, all that comes from Draymond Green. But I think if Steph Curry starts to get it going, the whole team will just kind of relax a little bit. Yeah. And I think they'll really be able to find the flow again once Steph Curry gets it going.
Yeah. Now, we're about to get into, the physicality of the game. We had, Draymond Green, with his kick and, Dahntay Jones, with his kind of punch. First of all, we get to Dahntay Jones. What did you guys think of the play? Do you think he did it intentionally? And are you okay with the, punishment for it as well?
No, I'm not okay with the punishment. If you wanted to fine him just as, man code, you just don't hit another guy in the junk.
There's no place for that.
Yeah. Just off principle, you fine him intentional or not. But I mean, just looking at what happened in that play, I don't know how anybody could say it was intentional. Like, it was such an awkward exchange for his arm to go and lay that punch. But I can't say it was like he planned that out. It just looked too awkward to me to say, yeah, he definitely did that on purpose. So get him out for a game.
Yeah. I think because
I think he only got suspended. A suspension, but I think he got fined like worth $80 too or something like that.
It was a petty fine. Yeah, it was a petty fine. Since we're going to talk about both instances, I'm gonna say I don't think you can really tell whether either was intentional or not because, we're not in the head of Draymond or we're not in the head of Dahntay Jones. We will never know whether it was intentional or not. Yeah. Of course they're gonna say it wasn't, but whether it was or not, who's really to say? Yeah. So, in terms of Dahntay Jones, did it deserve a suspension? Probably not. I've seen worse get off with nothing. Okay. But, like Darnell said, the fine, I'd be okay with the fine. You don't want to see the NBA start to turn into something like that just because people are getting away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, just to go to the next one, like I agree, like me and Ty, we had a little Twitter exchange on this one, but it was no, I don't see how you could say either was definitely intentional. Like I said, with Dahntay Jones, it was just awkward. And with Draymond's, I mean, sorry to turn coach-like on y'all, but back in 5th grade when you're taught, to go up for a layup, you your elbow and your knee are on a string. So when your arm goes up, your knee goes up. So the leg went up and it kicked.
You don't think he was looking like Dan Bailey out there kicking a 40-yarder for the Cowboys?
No, like I don't think he ran in and just like tried to straight leg and fire one between the uprights. Like I looked at it as just like, okay, this just takes me back to when like I was in summer camp in elementary learning basketball. You go up for your layup, you jump off your left foot, you raise your right leg and your right arm, and you put it up that way. And I mean, that's just how it looked for me. He was going up and the leg straightened because he was fading backwards. So, I mean, like, how often did people hate that Kobe stuck his leg
Yeah,
out?
I'm about to say Kobe would kick.
Yeah,
like
so,
crazy.
I mean, it's just, it is a natural motion for some people to do that. So, I can't say it was intentional. And, I mean, I know it might look bad for me saying it since, I Spartan bias or whatever, but no, I don't think either was on purpose. I don't think anybody should have been suspended. But I mean, just like I said, off of principle, off of the body part that got hit, you deserve to pay a fine, intentional or not.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and allude to the Twitter exchange that Darnell and I had. Nothing. Yeah, I agree with everything Darnell's saying. I don't necessarily think that either was it's hard to say whether each was intentional or not. I understand being able to follow through on a play, go up strong, or however you wanna phrase it. The only thing is, and I've been barking about this for a while, is the only thing I want out of the NBA and out of the reffing crews is just consistency.
Be fair.
Yeah, consistency. I wouldn't even necessarily say be fair. I just want consistency. If you're going to call it one way this time, call it this way, call it the same way the next.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a lot of talk went down about the superstar treatment. I mean, I don't think Draymond Green received any sort of star treatment or anything like that. I just think the NBA knows what's going to bring ratings up. Draymond in the game is going to bring up ratings. I get that.
Well, in that instance, he did get star treatment, and like, just going back to it, I agree with you. Just off of the principle, since Dahntay Jones was suspended, Draymond probably should have been suspended.
Yeah.
I think I just take the perspective that Dahntay, they were too harsh on, and they did the correct thing with Draymond.
Yeah.
But I totally
I can see that.
Consistency. I've had my rant split for the past couple weeks about if a foul is a foul in the first quarter, is a foul in the fourth quarter. I hold the same line here. Consistency is needed.
Yeah, but I think, and that's the part of the whole thing that bothers me. I could have cared less whether Dahntay Jones got fined, suspended, or kicked out of the league. The only thing is if you're going to do it to him, you have to do it to somebody else too. And that's the thing that bothers me about it more than anything else, because then it's like we can start to get selective on what we want to do and who we want to do it to. Yeah. And it's not going to matter, because once the decision's really made, there's not a ton you can do about it. Yeah. And the one thing I found super interesting about the Draymond Green situation was the fact that when they went back and reviewed it, they upgraded the foul from a flagrant 1 to a flagrant 2. A flagrant 2 means he should have missed game time. He that's an ejection. Yeah. So when is this flagrant 2 going to be enforced? It's not. So he got the fine. Okay, whatever. But if you're going to tell me he should have missed a big portion of that game, and then you're not going to suspend him, so you're saying that it was intentional, but we're going to leave him in. Like, to me, the dots don't connect.
Yeah.
For the decision, or the process in which they made the decision, and then the ruling they decided to lay out. That didn't connect with me, and that's why I'm screaming we need more consistency, because then it avoids anything like this conversation.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the whole consistency thing. With the whole Dahntay getting fined, the little $80 fine and then getting suspended. Yeah, people, saying that, you guys say it's not intentional and everything like that. Then Draymond, he ends up kicking the guy between the legs. Like I said, I don't know if it was on purpose or not. He hasn't had issues with being a dirty player before. So, I'm not going to accuse him of that yet. If I see this later down the road, where he's, constantly doing that, then okay, we can have a discussion. But, first time offense, I'm just going to, give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, it wasn't dirty. He was just, kicking like, my man Kobe would kick. So, it is what it is. But yeah, but the whole, consistency thing, with that one guy getting suspension and a little $80 fine and one guy not getting suspended at all, he's just getting fined for $25,000. Yeah, that's kind of just like, okay, you guys definitely need to be more consistent. But, I would encourage people to understand something. The NBA is a business and they're all about ratings and bringing in the money. I hate to say this, but, outside of Mr. Jones' family, friends, and teammates, no one really cares about what the guy does on the floor. Yep. No one's like tuning in to say, hey, man, I wonder how many points Dahntay Jones is going to put up tonight. That's just
two or four.
Yeah, but then you have a guy like Draymond, always in the press, getting talked about and stuff like that, He's more marketable, and people actually watch the game to see him play. So, we'll fine him $25,000, no suspension, even though he did get a flagrant 2 for the ratings. So, but either way, if how they played last night, he could have just been suspended because that was just awful. But, it's all about ratings and, bringing in a profit too. We love the game, but, the NBA is all about bringing in money. So, that's what they had to do.
Yeah, no doubt you get the feeling the NBA was looking out for their own interests with this decision. I mean, Draymond on the court, he gets some people to watch him because he stuffs a stat sheet, and he's the guy that you usually can get a good quote from the Warriors bench. I mean, look at all the stuff that's been going back and forth between him and Westbrook since it happened. Yeah. They've been jawing basically since it happened. So, I mean, this is what the NBA wants. You keep your stars on the court, basically, is what they're trying to do. Like, if this was a situation where he had too many technicals, I bet you it would have been downgraded to not be a technical or something like that. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure everything's there to keep eyes on the game, and so you feel like the game is in question. Because I feel like if Draymond was suspended, of course nobody is watching that because they think Pride of Thunder are going to roll over. I mean, people would still watch it because they love Steph, Westbrook, Durant, but they wouldn't have as much because it probably wouldn't be a thought that it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. Well, and I think on top of that, they don't want people to, I don't even know what the right word is, but not give validity to Oklahoma City if they pull it out. Yeah. Because I don't think they want people starting to go, well, Golden State didn't have Draymond Green, and if they did, I think the NBA wants to avoid all of that too. I think they want it to be as legitimate as it could get. Yeah. And I think that, like you're saying, keeps the NBA credible, but it also, still drives the ratings up and still gets the viewers, and it just kind of makes the game as full force as it should be.
Yeah. And just kind of think, if the NBA still stuck with it, then suspend them, but they just came out just firing on all cylinders last night against OKC and won by about, 20 points. We'll be having a different conversation right now talking about, our faith in, can Golden State come back and whatnot. But, just them having him on the court, that could just have a huge difference on the game. So, just a whole ratings standpoint from the NBA, just trying to bring in as much money as they can. For sure. You guys have anything left to add?
Just both you guys don't become Chris Paul. The king of nut punches.
Yeah. Chrissy, he's had those, man, for sure.
Yep, since college.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anything for Utah?
Just if Oklahoma City closes it out, one of the greatest upsets in sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be very safe to say this could be one of the top upsets. Would you guys say all time?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Especially during the...
with Giants, Patriots.
Yeah. Well, especially since, the turn of the century, for sure.
Yeah. Especially how Golden State was able to catch up in the fourth and just do whatever they want to do to them in the regular season. It was, I was just looking at that and was like, how did they just turn all that around to just get a 3-1 lead? Yeah, exactly. So that was just huge in itself, just good just work on that whole team, just turning that whole situation around and got me believing they can do whatever they want in the fourth quarter. So that talk's all out the window now, how they've been playing.
I think Billy Donovan has solidified himself as an NBA coach.
Oh, yeah.
No question. No question.
Definitely. All right, just to end the show, just to let the people know that are listening, we are on Stitcher, iTunes, and SoundCloud as well. So, and we post on YouTube too. So look us up on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can just type in "Don't Kill the Messengers" podcast. I believe you can do the same thing for SoundCloud. You might just have to type in TQSJ294, and that should bring you to us as well. So subscribe to us. We're still, working on it, getting better and everything like that. So we've got a lot of content to bring to you guys. So appreciate all the people that's been tuning in and listening to us. So definitely.
Yeah, subscribe, download, share with your friends, do everything else. Follow us on Twitter at DKM_cast. Get at us on there. You can shoot us questions. You can also talk to me or Tyler on Twitter. We're trying to get Trey on there. We're trying to get him to join the fray. But shoot, that's the show Twitter page, and then also you can also email us suggestions.
Don't be afraid to, if there's a topic or anything, you guys, I don't care if it's, who's our favorite basketball players of all time or whatever it be, we appreciate the feedback. So, hit us up with questions and comments you would like us to cover, that would...
Hate mail, fan mail, whatever, just send it.
A little controversy, I'm all about it.
Yeah, dkmcast@gmail.com. Get at us. We're working hard on this, trying to build a nice little fan base, and we want to be interactive with the people that are showing us love.
Yeah, for sure.